All right, welcome back. So in this video, we're going to talk about self-assignment operators in Java. You may have seen these before, but most of you are probably going to see these for the first time. Basically, it's a way of changing values of variables at certain points in your program. So let's start with just an easy example. I'm going to create an integer variable called x, and I'm going to assign it a value of 9. Okay, so remember, this is called the assignment operator. So I'm going to create a small storage space in RAM called x, and I'm going to put 9 inside that variable, and I'm declaring it as an int. So then I'm just going to do something really simple and print that variable. Okay, be careful. Again, if I put double quotes around here, it's literally going to print x. Even if I put single quotes, that's a character, and it's literally going to print x. But if I take off quotations, then Java will say, this must be a variable. And yes, it is. It's right here. So it's going to print the value stored inside the variable. So in this case, 9. So this prints 9. Okay, but on the line underneath, actually, I don't know if I've ever mentioned this, but if I try and do this, if I try and say int x equals 7, this is going to crash. If I compile, it's going to say, sorry, variable x is already defined in method main. So you can't create a variable that is the same name as something you've already created. So I think I mentioned that before, but maybe not. So what if I just want to change the value of this variable to 7? Well, I can just say x is assigned 7. So I don't put the word int at the beginning because I only do that the very first time. So the very first time you create the variable in RAM, you have to define the data type. So you have to say whether it's an int or a double or a char or a boolean. But then later on, you can reuse this variable with, see, I did it here too. You don't always have to say the word int at the beginning. You only do that the very first time. Okay, so what does this code do? It changes x to 7. So in RAM, it's no longer going to be 9. X is going to be changed to 7. So now if I print x, now it's going to print 7. So again, when I compile and run this program, Java goes one line at a time. So first x will be 9, and then it prints 9. But then this changes x to 7. So then when I print x, it's going to be 7. So let's just see that here. All right, so it's a 9 first, and then it's a 7. Okay, and then I can change it again. So I can say x is assigned negative 20. So this changes x to negative 20. And then if I print it, then of course it's going to be negative 20. Okay. So that's one thing you can do. You can just totally reassign a value to a variable using the assignment operator. Now, there's something else you can do to a variable. I'm just going to simplify things and get rid of all this. So instead of reassigning, what if we wanted to add one to our current variable? For instance, let's say you were keeping track of a score and you wanted to add one to this variable. Then we can do that by saying x is assigned x plus 1. Okay, so this will add 1 to x. Now, how does this work? Well, Java computes the right-hand side of this equation first. So it basically takes the existing value of x, so whatever x is right now, which is 9, and it adds 1 to it, which is 10, and then it puts 10 into x. So the 9 is now gone, and now x is storing 10. So if I were to print x at this stage, it would give me 10. So this statement is very useful and is used a lot in programming. And basically, this is code that will add 1 to the current value of x, and then it will reassign x to that new value. Okay, so before this line, x is 9, but then after this line, x is going to be 10. And I can just show you by running that. Okay, so This line of code is so popular. It's used in animation, so if you have a little ball and you want to move it across the screen horizontally, you may want to add 1 to the x pixel over and over and over and over again. So this line is so frequently used that there is a shortcut for it. And it looks like this, x plus plus. Okay, so this also adds 1 to x. So this is just another way of adding 1 to x, and it's just by saying plus plus. So that's just a shortcut for this. So if I follow, at the very beginning, x is 9, and then this statement changes x to 10, and then this statement changes x to 11. So then when I print x at this point, x should be 11. And if I recompile and run it, you should see 9 first and then 11. Okay? Now there's a way to subtract values too. So let's say after this I could actually, you know what? I'm just going to change this. So you could say x equals x minus 1, and this will subtract 1 from x. Okay, and yes, there is a shortcut. It's just x minus minus, and this also subtracts 1 from x. Okay, so just like we added 1, you can subtract 1 in either way. So either one of these commands will work. Okay, so again, if I run it, x is originally 9, but then this will move it down to 8, and then this will move it down to 7. So if I run it, you should see 9 first, and then 7 is second. Okay, so what if I wanted to subtract more than 1? So, what if this variable represents your health, and an enemy just attacked you, and you want to subtract this by more than 1? Maybe you want to subtract by 3. Well, you would just simply say x is assigned x minus 3. And so this will subtract 3 from x. Now, is there a shortcut? Can I do x minus minus minus? Unfortunately not. But you can use this operator, minus equals 3. And this is called a self-assignment operator, and that's the title of this note. So this also subtracts 3 from x. So there's two ways to subtract 3. You can either do it the long way like this, or you can use a self-assignment operator, and that will quickly subtract 3 from x. So again, x is originally 9, and then this statement will change x to 6, and then this statement will change x to 3. So then when I print it, it's going to print 3. Let's just check that. Okay, there it is. All right. Likewise, you could add, let's say I wanted to add 10. So I could do it this way by saying x is assigned x plus 10. So this will add 10 to x. Or the shortcut is going to be to say plus equals 10. And so this is another self-assignment operator called plus equals, and this also adds 10 to x. Okay. So then what would x be after all this? Well, x is originally 9, and then it's going to be 19, and then it's going to be 29. So this would print 29. Okay, so this is how you add or subtract values to variables. Now, you can do more. So you can multiply. Okay, so this will multiply 10 to x. So after this statement is done, x will be 90. And is there a shortcut? Is there a self-assignment operator? Yes, there is. It's just times equals. So if you say x times equals 10, this also multiplies 10 to x. So at the beginning, x is 9, and then this statement will change x to be 90, and then we're going to do it again. We're going to multiply 10 again. So then x would be 900 when I print it. Let's double check that. There we go. Okay, and then you can, of course, do division as well. And there's a shortcut. Okay, so this will divide this will divide x by 10. And this also divides x by 10. So interesting. What would x be at the end here? So x started out as 9, and then what is 9 divided by 10? Well, remember in Java, it's going to throw away the decimal if they're both integers. So 9 divided by 10 is actually going to be 0. So x will be 0. And then we're going to do it again. We're going to take 0 divided by 10, which is again 0. And so x will be 0 at the end. Let me just confirm that and make sure that that's right. Yeah, so it prints 9 at the beginning and then 0 at the end. Okay, finally, one more. You can do mod equals. And this is a little bit weird. I'm going to do modulus 5. Okay, so this will mod x by 5. Okay, and yes, there is a self-assignment operator as well that you can choose to use. You can use either. Either one will work. I'm just showing you that there's two ways to mod this value by 5. So this also mods x by 5. All right, so what does this do? Well, x starts out at 9, and then Java will do this thing first. So 9 mod 5. So that's the remainder. So 9 divided by 5 is going to give you a remainder of 4, because 5 goes into 9 once with a remainder of 4. So after this statement is done, x is going to be changed to 4. And then I'm doing it again actually, let's change that to 5. So I'm going to do it again. 4 mod 5. This time the answer is going to be 4. Because 5 does not go into 4 at all, and so the remainder will just be 4. You still have 4 left over. Okay. All right, so that is it. Up top, I have just a kind of a summary here of all the assignment operators. So equal, so just one equal sign is called the assignment operator, and that's used to put values into variables. Plus plus just means add 1 to a variable, okay, like x plus plus, something like that, semicolon. Minus minus will subtract 1. Plus equals, that adds any amount, and it reassigns back to the variable, okay. And then there are other ones: minus equals, times equals, divide equals, and mod equals. Okay, hopefully that made sense, and we'll practice this, and we'll be on to other things in the next video. Okay, thanks for watching.